I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Carver Council on Aging Board of Directors.
What time is it, 4:30?
It's 4:31.
Thank you.
We're here at Town Hall. We're in room 1, which is 108 Main Street. And welcome everyone. And we have Area 58 who's recording this meeting today. So the meeting, again, is being broadcast by Area 58 Community Access Media, and will be posted on Area 58 on YouTube as soon as it's possible. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please, and we do have a quorum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is public comments. And discussions during the Council on Aging meeting should always be courteous and respectful. And during the meeting on agenda items, there'll be no questions from the audience, as this is a working board meeting. All statements made during public comment should be kept to a maximum of 3 minutes, and public comments will only be for 10 minutes. Speakers must confine their comments to only those that appear on the meeting agenda for today, December 1st, 2022. Do we have anyone that would like to speak from the public? Anyone?
No?
I'm sorry, we don't know what's on the agenda, so.
I will give you an agenda. I'll give you an agenda. Connie has one.
Do you want me to make some copies?
Connie has some there, bag.
Thank you.
Oh.
You're welcome. I'll give you a minute to look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, any public comments? No? Okay. Okay, thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
No? Okay. All right, thank you, everybody. The next item on the agenda is the vice chair reorganization and possible vote. And we do not have a full board here tonight. We have a quorum. Do we have any motion?
Yeah, I've thought about it, and I really think that we should table this till next meeting. Make a motion to table it, only because when you do a reorg, you really should have the full board. It's only fair, and Elaine had an emergency, so.
All right, so
seconded.
all right, so if I hear the motion on the floor is to table the reorganization for vice chair until our next meeting, and we have a second.
Yes,
Do we have any discussion on that? No?
No,
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
We have a unanimous vote. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from September 29th. You had all received this, and it was emailed to you previously.
Was this the one in question before?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'm going to abstain from this because I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay.
So, and I know that Elaine was going to do a review of it.
And she did review it.
And, oh, she did review it,
Yeah, she
okay.
did review it. So you're abstaining?
Only because I wasn't at that meeting.
Mr. Hanson, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So we only have 2 people here that were at that meeting. That-
So I would table that to the
Yeah,
next
that's
meeting,
what I was going to,
till you have a
Thank you
quorum.
very much. Okay, we'll table the minutes from September 29th. Do we have a motion?
I second it.
table.
Are you making the motion? Ellen, to table it?
Yes, I will make a motion
And
to
I'll-
table the minutes of the September 29th meeting.
And we have a second from Mary, and I also agree. So we'll table that. All those in unison, vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is the minutes from November 3rd. And you were all emailed these minutes as well. And if you look them over, if we could have a motion on these.
You want to make the motion because I wrote them?
The motion?
Make a motion to approve November 3rd if you like the minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. No. I make the motion to accept them.
Okay, do we have a second?
I will second that.
Helen will second it. And all those in favor of approving the minutes from November 3rd?
Aye.
Aye.
These minutes have been approved. The next item on the agenda is the town administrator, future funding, and I was wondering if you could just give us a couple of updates on that.
Mhm. So we applied for a couple of grants. One was a $20,000 grant through the state, and I got that through the state representative as part of the budget. And that $20,000 is earmarked to redo the walkway fence that goes from the parking lot on the outside next to the street up to the Council on Aging. Because one of the things that I noticed is that there was no handrail or anything that they could grab onto. And I was at one of the events, and I watched a couple of seniors go up there and stop and hold the top of the fence, trying to balance themselves. So I put in for that grant, and it was awarded. So it's a reimbursable grant, so we have to do the work first, and then we get reimbursed for that. Next week, I'm going with Dave Siedentoff up to look at that, and we'll get plans on how to replace that.
That's
You know, whether it can
exciting.
be modified or whether we need to replace the whole thing.
And I got a question, and I don't know if this is possible. Would there be any availability to put like a bell there? Like if we had an emergency on that area, that somebody could ring something and call for help or anything like that?
I don't know. I mean, it's a thought.
Because it's just so down there, it's just so
Mhm.
far away from the
Yeah.
building. And with the weather and things like that, I've noticed we've had a couple people fall in that area. And
Yeah.
I would really, if we could do something to protect, you know.
So one of the things that you bring that up, I'm thinking, is maybe a lot of the doorbell ringers are remote. So, you know, as long as it's within a certain amount of space, you know, maybe put
Right.
something like that on there and have inside.
Something like you have
That
up
the-
in your
that-
office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Something that.
And that they would know is there, so.
Right. Something that's accessible, like we don't want, like if I'm standing up like this, I don't want it to be up here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
If I was in a wheelchair, I would want it accessible to a wheelchair.
Because we'll have kids pushing the button.
Well, you know. We want it accessible for all.
Yeah, no. But that's a good idea. It's something we'll consider, I guess, when we go through that process. And the other thing, the other grant is a $30,000 grant. And this is earmarked to the council for specific areas. I'm going to read what it can be used for.
And what was the dollar amount?
$30,000.
Okay.
And it's additional money to the budget. It's not something that you have to pay back or anything else. It comes additionally to the budget. And it has to be done by the end of this fiscal year, which is June 30th. So it can be used for payroll, fringe benefits, facilities operations, facilities maintenance, elder program services. So if you have programs that you want to establish or use the money for, outreach services, research and development, program facility supplies, meals. You can subsidize meals, say, for a couple of months, and reduce it if that's what you want to do. Staff training, you can use it for that. Office supplies and travel expenses for conferences and things. So those are the things that you can use it for. What I have is a budget, earmarked budget request that I'm going to leave with Connie before I leave.
Okay.
And she's got to give an estimate of what is going to be used in what area.
So that's for a separate one.
Yeah, that's for the $30,000.
Okay, and then
So-
the other one was for the railing.
The railing was separate, yep, that's
So we
a
have
20.
two.
So $50,000 in total.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
when we, excuse me, through the chair.
Yeah.
And both have to be accomplished by June 30th.
Did we get awarded the 30,000? I know you said we were awarded the 20,000.
Yes.
We
So
were, so.
yeah, but again, it's reimbursable money. So what would happen is, you do all these things, the grant line item would be a negative until we get the reimbursement, and then it comes up to a positive.
And that's the
So,
same with the 20,000.
Yeah,
I want to
So-
know what they mean by fringe benefits.
well, fringe benefits, so if you were to use this to hire, say, a part-time person, for 8 hours to
Okay.
work at the
I
council.
thought it was for your limo to Boston.
Yeah, not my benefits. So that counts as salary, also what the benefits are, that
Got it.
that the town's
Oh, I
spending.
see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
gotcha.
it falls within that category.
Thank you.
Okay, so Connie, I'm going to give this to you later. And then-
I already have them.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that's when I need to sit down and meet with
Yep, okay,
That's awesome.
that's good.
Really, really good news.
It is 50,000.
Yep. And I think the other thing on here was a rental agreement.
Yes.
Well, we have that.
Yep.
That we're going to review. The only thing that we wanted you to talk about was the funding and the future. We would like to keep on everybody's mind that the Atwood House isn't gonna.
So going to magically turn into a
a
palace.
beautiful palace, right.
I know.
So we need to have that on the back of our mind, on
Yeah,
the front.
and it is, we have a number of debt that we're paying off for the schools and for the police and
Right.
fire station and so forth,
I would
so,
hope that the Council on Aging is not.
yeah.
They're well.
Yeah, I think that's the last of
Well
the
deserved.
group that needs it right now, so,
Awesome.
okay?
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Lieutenant Murphy?
No.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item.
And you guys are doing a great job, I just want to say. I want to get that out there. Sometimes you hear different things that could be sounding negative. I kind of look at them always as constructive criticism, maybe, that it puts you on notice that maybe you can do something else a different way, or, and I just want to hope that we can keep everything very positive like that. Connie's doing a great job, June's doing a great job. This board is wonderful to work with. So, I'm here permanently for 4 years. And I want to see that. It's happening all around the town that, there's a lot of positive energy. And I want that to come to the council too. So anything I can do to help that,
Thank you.
Thank you, and I know you've been holding office there, as well as you've been eating lunch there when there's a function.
Yeah, I think it's
We
great.
appreciate
Yeah.
that, because the more people that go there and see what's going on and the excitement that's happening there, it's beyond belief.
Yeah, and shame on us for not putting that out to the public, and I've talked to my staff too, to see if we can do more of that, so that it gets out there, the positive things
Right.
that we're doing as a group, as a town, and as individual departments too. So you may be seeing more of that in the
So
near
I also
future.
want to share it with you, as well as I traveled to 23 Council on Agings across the state, all the way out to Dudley, Webster, Marshfield, Avon, Stoughton, all the way up the coast, all the way to Abington, Rockland. I've been to Halifax, Plimpton, I've been to them all. And if you look at the newsletters, we have a lot happening in Carver, and we should be very proud of that. And I would
Yeah.
hope that everyone that goes there is proud of what's happening there, because it's amazing.
I know I am.
Good, that's good. It's amazing to see that, and I'm really happy that I have that ability to visit these other Council on Aging and come back to Connie and say, hey, this is what I discovered at this Council on Aging. Is that a possibility here? So she's getting good feedback. She attends great meetings. She attends the conferences. So we are very lucky, so I'm pleased as
Yeah,
well.
good, thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the rental agreement, and We had already discussed this, and we had suggested a couple of changes, and we sent it over to Mr. Fennessy, and he reviewed it and looked it over.
Can I make a motion to approve just so we can discuss?
Okay.
Would you mind that?
No, I don't mind.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Positive? I'll make a motion to approve the Council on Aging usage agreement.
Oh, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All those in favor?
So what I want,
All those in favor?
Aye.
would it be a hindrance to make any further edits if we look it over again?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And that's what
No,
the
that's-
meeting is
yeah.
worth, the work.
That's-
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, I know we've looked at it a few times. I was just wondering, what do you, I'm thinking about the economy and, you know, with everything going up in terms of utilities, et cetera. Do you think it would behoove us to increase the rentals on Carver residents to 50 from 25? And all other organizations and private functions to $100 from 75? I only ask that because, you know, utilities are going up. So it's
Well-
like,
But that's per hour.
And if,
I understand, but you know how old that $25 is?
so there's another, I understand what you're saying, and you can hear me. I have a little concern, and my concern is who will be unlocking the door, who will be locking the door, and is that gonna be a paid employee doing that? And do we have to have a paid employee on the premises during the rental of this property? I don't know. I'm just.
Is
throwing
that
it up.
part of the discussion with increasing the fee, or is that
Well-
another topic?
Well, to me, that would be a reason to increase.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, everything is going up. And that $25 for the Carver residents has been there for quite some time. So I'm
And
just
that's up
trying
to 4 hours, too.
yeah, I'm just thinking realistically. I mean,
Well-
a couple hours in the wintertime, just the expense of the utilities alone. And then I agree with Donna that all these employees that are part of it, those salaries have been increasing. So what are your thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, it's always a tough thing to raise fees. But when you think about it, it's a 4-hour rental. And for $25 right now, that's what?
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at the contract, it's $25 per hour.
Oh, it
It
is?
says per hour.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
Right.
that is $100 for a 4.
Okay, just wanted to point that out.
So, I also know that,
What?
for instance, at South Meadow Village, if we rent out our facility, I believe it's $150 with the kitchen. And that also, they're responsible for cleaning it. So,
Has anybody looked at other surrounding COAs and see what they charge? That might be a good thing to do
okay,
before you vote on it,
yeah, I think so too.
you know? Or you can vote on this and then amend it at the next meeting after,
Yeah.
you know. But I think it's good to get this in place.
Yeah, I would rather vote on it and then
Yeah.
come back at
If you
our
wanted
next
to amend
meeting,
the
just so we don't
fees.
delay any longer in
Yeah.
case anybody wants it during the holiday. Connie, would you have any feedback as to like who shows the most interest? Who has rented out the COA? Is it more seniors? Is it just,
Well, I haven't been part of the rental process before, so
okay,
what I've seen is mostly been groups, the nonprofit groups, the Boy Scouts, Lions Club, different groups, but bridal showers, baby showers, those types of things have been part. My greatest concern is somewhat the supervision or management of the events
Right.
themselves. In the past, in my minimal knowledge of how it was done in the past was a key was handed to the individual who was renting, and they were shown how to unlock the building, and that no one was on site. And I'm just concerned about the fact that there's, with confidentiality aspects within offices that could potentially be access, or just even food pantry, all these things of not having somebody on site or letting them,
Mhm.
not giving a key and letting, having to be there to open and close to make sure. So unfortunately, that does require an individual, most likely a staff member, I think, to be present for some of these things.
I understand that, and I'm just looking at the price. The price now would be $300 for a non-resident for 4 hours. That's a good amount of money. And I know that to rent the, it's $500 to rent the American Legion.
Yeah, and it's more for discussion purposes that I
Yeah.
think I mean, I'm totally open to a dollar amount, but I just really believe that it's time that we increase it a little bit, and because it's only gonna hit the rest of the Carver residents, because it goes, the expense is gonna come out of our budget.
I'd hate to see us raise it on residents, though. I really do. Unless it was a for-profit situation. You know what I'm saying? If it was a private function for a profit, that's a little different, but a non-profit?
Well, nonprofit is zero.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Exactly.
and I don't even know if we have that written in here.
So maybe what you want to do is shift the nonprofit down to the Carver residents for the reduced rate,
Right.
Right.
but at least some rate, so you can pay somebody to
come in.
monitor the
I agree.
location.
Right.
And in another town that I worked, we had a semi-retired person who we would pay the stipend to whenever there was an event. And he would go down there and be at the event, open it, unlock it, lock it up, and we would give him that stipend amount out of the fees that were raised.
Okay. That makes
So you
sense.
might want to think of something like that,
Yeah.
too.
So, how does the board want to do this? Table it, or do we want to get it done so they can get it rented?
Yeah, again, I would
I just think we
suggest,
should have more
yeah.
discussion. I mean, my opinion is, I agree with Bob that maybe if we can take a few days to contact a couple of other, but I don't think it should matter.
Yeah, I know. It's not like we're in competition with them.
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying that is the concern is more expenses are going up.
Mhm.
And these fees have been in place since a long time, and it's like, it's not that I want to charge anyone more money,
Mhm.
but we're also getting hit with a hefty budget overall in Carver, as you know,
Mhm.
excess expenses. So, and the utilities are definitely, that line item is definitely going to increase.
Oh, I know.
Dramatically. So I just think it is in the best decision for Carver and the Council on Aging that we increase it slightly, especially if you're saying, Connie, that there was a lot of more like bridal showers and things like that. So,
I would be concerned with the fee, though, for the scouts and the line, that's the nonprofit.
but aren't they nonprofit?
No, but that's what I'm saying, you were talking about.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
The small
I was thinking of
fee.
the other groups, yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's considering, maybe we have to
Mhm.
qualify what those groups would be, only because, and then considering the requirement for those, as far as those usually after hours during the week, most typically, not on the weekends too, so at what point is there going to be that level of supervision, and maybe finding that criteria of those that need supervision and those that do not.
Mhm.
That's another factor. I just feel like there's a lot of variables and a lot of unknowns that I don't feel like 100% confident on my end in
Agree.
agreeing, we have the great paperwork and legalese as far as liability and responsibility. The procedural aspect of it all is still to me up in the air. And I'm not really clear on how this should actually function.
So, going back to your question on the fees, maybe we should adjust C and leave B alone until our next meeting? something like that?
That would be a start.
Okay, that would be a start.
What Donna is saying is to approve or make a motion to approve increasing the non-resident portion of this agreement. So we have a start in terms of if people want to rent, and then we'll follow up and get more information on, Bob, the cost it would to cover if we did have to have an employee there.
And then we can come back in January. and-
Correct.
So I guess what we would have is a motion for letter C on here. It says for all other organization and private function.
But in terms of Connie's, thank you, in terms of Connie's concern, is that addressed anywhere here?
No.
It says support personnel.
I thought it did when I was
Yeah,
reading
but
through
it's
it.
not as like how the
How it
process
would be done.
Yeah.
But is that in the agreement, or is that just in an internal procedure? I don't mean to be silly, but,
It's the usage agreement policies and procedures.
It does imply, the way this is written, that somebody is going to be present to let them in and follow up. And it doesn't necessarily say somebody's going to be there throughout the event, but it also says the director can stop the event even in process, which to me sounds like there's a presence during the event itself.
but it does say that there would be somebody there, just not how long.
Right, not just beginning or end. And that's why, I mean, procedurally, I just don't see the steps. Okay.
So I guess my question would be, would there be a comfort level if we were to make a motion? I feel funny talking to Connie in the audience because she's the one I'm really directing this to, and Bob. But I would like to make a motion to approve this with an increase that we decide on for non-residents, with the agreement as is, knowing that, yeah, it says in the agreement that we do have to have staffing, and then do our homework for January and make an amendment to fine tune it, drill down a little bit more, if you will.
I feel like the procedural aspect doesn't necessarily, I think that falls more on.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And that's not necessarily part of the agreement, because it's not necessarily, you are mentioning that staff is present at some point. If we
Exactly.
refine that, it can be a separate, it's just a policy that supports the agreement itself.
Right, and that's what I was saying, is the procedural part of that is really more an internal procedure,
Exactly.
so it would be good to go.
So
So
going,
good.
so going back, I think your motion would have to be on C, and it doesn't decipher between resident or non-resident. That's what I'd like to make a clarification, on C only.
Yeah, so what, to increase it by $25 on each
So it would be
one?
$100 an hour.
Oh, and again, we can talk about that, but all other, the way it's worded is all other organizations and private functions. B says Carver residents, so it implies that it's non-Carver residents, so do you feel that we should add the clause in number C, non-Carver residents, comma, all other organizations and private organizations, just to be clear?
Well,
You could, it's redundant, because there is a category for Carver residents.
That's
So
fine.
then, you know, they would fit in that,
Okay,
and they wouldn't want to pay more than, than they have to.
okay. Do you feel good with that? Just leaving it as is?
With the additional
fee.
increase.
Additional.
Right.
Okay, so now we just have to talk about
Yeah, but do you feel comfortable with keeping it as is?
yes.
Mary?
And the only thing I would suggest also on that, on this little pamphlet or whatever we'll call it, it should have a signature page, a signature at the bottom that's acknowledged and agreed to these. So you look at the last page.
Oh, that would be helpful. Oh, no, it does, it has initials.
It has
You're saying
initials,
to add a
but what's an
signature page.
initial if you don't know
Yeah.
who the person
Nope, I
is?
agree.
You know, so
So signature
So
on the
signature and
last
date.
page.
acknowledged and agreed, signature and
What
date.
page is, add a signature page. Okay, yeah, whatever the last page is.
After kitchen use,
Yeah.
food and beverages.
How come yours looks different than mine?
Probably dropped off and putting it together.
Why does yours look different than mine?
You didn't get this, Mine is the same, right?
Sorry, bear with me. Mine looks different. It's weird. But obviously I have the same content because I'm not. I think it's just the fonts and everything that's a little different. Okay.
It is, yeah. I get that.
Can I make just a couple more thoughts? Oh, well, we do have to determine an amount.
Right.
Do you want to do that first?
Yeah, let's do that first. So do we have, a motion to,
We have-
amend this?
We have a motion to approve.
Rental agreement.
And we're in discussion.
So, do we want to approve it with the amendment?
Yeah, we will, but we have to figure out what the amendment is, because we have to figure out the dollar amount.
Do we have a motion on the floor to, approve the.
As amended.
As amended, and all those in favor?
No, we have to determine an amount.
I know, but we need to approve this and then have another discussion and adjust.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we already did that. I'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah, but this is on a
We
separate.
haven't made the amendments.
page.
yet, though. We're in-
So,
we
yeah, it'd
already
be
made-
both, you
made a
know.
motion to approve,
Okay.
and we're in a discussion mode.
All right.
So what we need to do is
Do the-
finalize our
All right.
amendments.
Okay.
Sorry,
That's
sorry
okay.
if I am
Confused.
trying not to. Okay, so I had recommended $100, but minimum of 4 hours, so the current is $75 an hour.
So if you do 100, that's $400.
Right.
So what's the motion?
Well, what, you guys have to give some ideas.
I think the $25, increase it to $100 an hour.
Okay, so you
That'll
guys,
be a minimum of $400.
yeah, I don't see that that's a problem.
I don't either, I mean, $400.
Even this one after scheduled hours?
That's what I was just gonna go to that one next. The next line on that is during the week after regularly scheduled hours, minimum to 4 hours at $50 an hour. During the week after regularly scheduled hours.
Regularly scheduled work hours, I
Yeah.
think it should
Or
say.
Oh,
whatever.
so, see, for something like that, I don't, and again, I don't wanna be the one making, you guys have to opine on this, but I'm not too wigged out about increasing that because the building's open, if I'm reading this correctly.
No, it won't be open.
During the week, oh, after regularly scheduled
Yeah.
hours, I apologize. Then I say we go up to $25 like we are doing here.
So
Then to
$75.
Yeah.
$75, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah, do you agree?
Yep.
And we've decided to keep the Carver residents the same,
Yeah,
okay?
all right, so,
And then,
and we'll add a signature page.
Yeah.
There's an initial page, I don't know if you saw that.
Mhm.
Initial?
Yes, we
Initial.
did.
All right.
the other thought I had on this was, and none of these are big deals, it's just that we probably won't look at this again for a few years, so,
Well, we were gonna come back in January.
so you wanna move on, and we'll do it in January? My other comment?
I say we approve it the way it is now, and then in January we'll revisit it because we'll have a full board.
Okay, so you know, I'll save my other comments for next time?
I think that would be good, unless you think it needs to be, no?
No?
All right,
I am here to support you.
all right, do we have a motion?
So I'll make I withdraw that motion, right? Because motion to approve, because now I want to do motion to approve as amended.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
Amend it with
withdraw
the-
the other motion, so I'm going to make a motion to approve as amended the usage agreement changes that the board has approved, and that is in the building fee schedule, section C, to all other organizations and private functions, we are increasing the weekend hours from $75 per hour to $100 per hour. In the same section, we will increase the hourly rate for during the week after regularly scheduled hours from $50 to $75. And so that's the only change this month. And then next month, when we have the full board, we'll revisit this agreement
I think
one more time. But at least this way, we have an approved agreement. So if somebody in town or anybody wants to rent the facility, they can.
Okay,
So-
so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, and I'll repeat the motion again, to increase C, which is weekends and Saturday, minimum of 4 hours to $100, and during the week after our regular scheduled hours, minimum to 4 hours, it would be $75 an hour. And under this agreement, everything else will remain the same.
Along, if I may, along with the acknowledgement and signature
Oh, the signature.
page.
Yep.
So you have to make another motion.
No, you can
I'm
just say
adding
along
this,
with the,
Add the signature
as well as the
page
signature.
to the last
yeah,
page.
now you look for a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Somebody second it?
Mary
Okay.
already
Mary
did.
second, Mary. Okay, that's unanimous to accept this agreement with the changes. And then when we come back, we'll have a full board and we're able to make some better decisions. I think.
Not better, additional.
Additional. All right.
Words matter, right?
All right, the next item on the agenda is the director's report and programs for 2023.
I think everyone got a copy.
Oh,
November.
It's the last passage.
oh, yeah.
Oh, you're. Just some updates for the month of November. I also included October because I don't believe I had the statistics for the GATRA for the last meeting. I just wanted to point out the fact that October's trips were at 575 bus trips, which is up 217 from last October. So the growth in our ridership on GATRA has really increased. In November, the ridership was 519 trips, which is up 62 from last year. It's a little lighter in November due to all the holidays between Veterans Day and the 2 days off for Thanksgiving. But it's still definitely appearing a lot higher than it has been in the past. The meals came in at 281 congregate meals, with the meals on the move at 840 for 1,121 meals. That's up because we also had the Thanksgiving luncheon during that time, and that the numbers on that were boosted the congregate higher. Currently at 330 registrations for my senior center. The newsletters are going out to 610 emailed recipients, with 867 that are physically mailed, and another 300 that are distributed throughout the town. The November recap includes, we had a free senior veteran lunch, went over very well. We had the veterans, some spouses of those veterans, even widows of some veterans that came in honor of their husbands who had passed away, which I thought was a nice thing to do. And Veterans Agent, Town Administrator Bob Fennessy, Select Board Chair Mark Townsend, and Board Member John Cotter also joined the luncheon to honor the veterans. We had entertainment planned with singer Jennifer Mello, who we've had in the past. Unfortunately, she had laryngitis and was unable to perform, but she came anyway and provided music with classic standards along with some patriotic songs, and I think was really a lot of fun, actually. Everyone stood up for Kate Smith's God Bless America with their hand over their heart, and it was a nice, actually touching moment to see everybody doing
I saw
that.
the picture.
Yeah, and it was, and actually if you played it, it's actually playing it's actually the video. So our annual turkey luncheon is always a favorite, very well attended, a great meal by June and Michelle preparing it. Special thanks, of course, to the Chief Dufely and the members of the police department who served the meal, and the police union who provided the turkeys and pies. And the assistance by all the volunteers was really appreciated. It really makes the event very special. We had a local author, Diane Finn, provide a second program. She offered us one in October. This was one for November called The Naughty Pilgrims, a really interesting historic record of some of the crimes and punishment from the 17th century.
She's a good writer.
Yeah, she's very engaging.
Her daughter's a writer as well.
Yeah, and an illustrator too. Yeah. So she's written a lot of books, and it was, I think, definitely well attended and very entertaining. For our December, I've attached the December newsletter, which has the details of some of the events that I'm just pointing out. We have the Holiday Craft Fair with the Friends this Saturday, December 3rd from 9 to 1. Our balloon bus trip to Yankee Candle and the Bright Lights will be leaving on December 7th. And we are doing a couple of fun activities. We have a holiday sock Yankee swap, which is fun. I think everyone brings a pair of new socks that are holiday themed and wrapped. And it goes through the process of the Yankee swap tradition of you take the gifts from other people if you want them, and everyone ends up with a pair of socks, which is fun. The Carver Elementary 5th grade chorus is going to be coming and providing a holiday concert. And they came in the spring with a wonderful concert. They're very talented. And their teacher, their music teacher, Kat Cramp, is really engaging herself and has really brought the talents out in the children. It should be very entertaining. The Holiday Pictionary is one of the other events we'll have, and we've played that in the past, and it's a lot of fun. Going into the new year, our yoga instructor is going to be providing a restorative yoga and crystal bowl sound bath. And Mary Wilson's done this, she did it last year, and it's a great way to just kind of start off the new year, kind of, wash out all the troubles of the year before, and you kind of start off the new year refreshed and renewed, and that's the concept behind that. And then we do a countdown to noon instead of midnight with an ice cream social on Friday, December 30th. And we'll have a little trivia for the 2020 and see how much people remember what went on in the year past. Looking forward to programming that we're investigating some concepts going on here. One of the things we want to review is some expanded health services and programs. The Board of Health has engaged with a new public health nurse, which is going to be shared between several communities. And so we'll have opportunity to work with the public health nurse for programs as well as special services, and we still are working that out as far as her availability to the town of Carver. We also discussed with the Board of Health and EMS possibly a health fair in the spring, trying to pull together some of the resources and have them all at the COA for the seniors in the community to have a chance to investigate those services. I'm also looking into trying to get the foot care services that we had had in the past back into the COA. That's been a desire that's been expressed by a lot of the seniors that had taken care of it. We have an individual in our audience that actually had done it in the past. Thank you, Allison. And we have brought to my attention, actually speaking to other directors in the area, that the need for mental health support and services and counseling, and there's been a lot of discussion with providing that type of service at the COAs, making it a little easier and more comfortable for seniors to come forward and seek out that assistance. So there's some support with EOEA with some grants and some programs of support of that nature, and hopefully we can get something like that happening at the COA. And also looking into improving some more fitness and movement programs. I think that's been a desire. We are limited on our space, but we're making do. We have line dancing currently going. We have chair yoga. Some of the things we'd like to introduce as well is Qigong, I think that's how it's pronounced, classes, which is a great form. It's very similar to Tai Chi in some ways, but it's helpful with balance and flexibility. Even that being another program specifically designed for that, Tai Chi itself. Silver Sneakers, which is a program for seniors in a fitness program through their insurance company, can be covered as well. We have services that can provide education with that. Chair volleyball sounds like a fun opportunity that you play with a beach ball, something we could afford to do very easily. We have limited space, but being that you do it in chairs, we actually might be able to get it in the space that we have. And I think that could be a lot of fun. Fall prevention classes and that type of thing have been always well attended, and I'd like to have more of those as well. So we're still investigating these as opportunities for the future.
All right.
And the newsletter has a lot more details, and that's attached to the report as well. Any questions from anybody?
No, I think this looks really great, and I'm happy to see it. I can email you some information on fall prevention, and then I have another comment to make during the member comment.
I did want to mention, I did put in that we had added some registrations, but I did have 2 new registrants from 2 different communities, both Middleborough and Kingston, and they both remarked at the same time, actually discussing with each other the level of activities we had at the COA and how impressed they were with what we were offering. And I thought that was very nice to hear about their experience with other COAs, and they were very complimentary.
All right, and no other questions for Connie?
No.
Okay. All right, moving on our agenda, preparing for the future. I just thought we could just have a couple-minute discussion on what this board would like to work on. Do we have a goal for that? And I know we probably should wait for the entire board, but we can have a discussion. Do you have any thoughts, Mary? No. Okay.
My biggest thought is that if we can get a jump start in January to really promote some activities this year, because I know, unfortunately, Elaine attempted to get a few done at certain periods, and it happened, we didn't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big goal of mine, is to really work on that. Even if we had one a quarter.
Okay.
So, agree.
We can set some
Yeah.
ideas forth and then
Yeah, so if that can be on the agenda
okay, I'll put it on
to, in January, because we could even start maybe with something Valentine's Day related, and then do one once a quarter. That's just my thoughts.
Okay, that's a great idea. All right, no other discussion on that?
Anything?
No, I just don't understand what you're talking about.
So, in the
That would be a good point to bring up, as you are brand new.
Right, in the past, our board has sponsored a few activities
Oh, okay.
during the year, no more than 4
Yeah,
in a year.
up at the
And-
COA?
At the COA.
Okay.
Or
No,
we've done
that's
one at Carver Night Out.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
We've done one at the Carver Shirtless Park, but
and we had one over here at the
yeah,
gazebo.
at the gazebo. So they've been from game night to take me out to the ball game to a function over here where we gave up some information and marketing. We also did that. It was a lot of fun.
What was the fall event where we had the cider and everything outside? It was
We had
fun.
donuts and cider.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Okay.
Trivia night was fun.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Okay.
So we've done that, so if you can think of any
Yeah.
ideas
Okay.
coming up, that way we
And organize them. And
Yeah.
invite everybody. And
Well, that's the
Send out notices.
Well, the big thing is it has to be that we can attend it, and if we try to do something during the weekday,
Yeah.
you know, a couple of us are still working, so it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, yeah.
kidding, but you're not.
But in the future, you know, just trying to think of something that we can do
Do it, yeah.
ourselves and, you know, look into that.
What about you?
Would,
What are your thoughts?
On a future activity. I think a future activity that I'd like to see is maybe something at Christmas time, because we've never done anything at Christmas time. So I was thinking at the holiday time, something like that. I always thought of, I don't know, it might not work. I was thinking about an outdoor fire and maybe some hot apple cider, or just something totally different that we've never done, that maybe we can get all different generations to come to it. It can be a multi-generational type thing. I don't know, but we'd have to check the fire department and all that. But I know Rochester does it every year, so I know the fire chief there really well.
I also think in January we should bring back our plan that we had,
Our goal, yeah.
because we don't want to do just activities next year. We want to kind of look at the layout that we had done a
Goal.
This is a sheet on the board, if you can't tell. Can you tell?
If you turn over your agenda on that.
Yeah.
That's the board, and what was on the board was our layout of our priorities, and we based it on a survey, the survey that was done in town, in terms of what the residents wanted to see for the seniors, etc. So it was an intense survey, and so we laid out the plan based on that feedback. So
Yeah, so our goal for this year was preparing for the future and marketing. And the marketing's been really well. Obviously, we're using Area 58, we're using the sign out front, we've had different functions, we've had flyers, we've had newsletters, the town is now putting it on their website. So we're really doing well on the marketing end of it. Preparing for the future, that's always going to be in our minds, is what the future was. But our goals for 21, 22 were outdoor activities, and we completed those, long-term planning, evening events, which we were able to complete those, marketing awareness, and we completed those, and technology, and presently the Wi-Fi has been upgraded at the Council on Aging, as well as we do have some technology programs that are being run at the Council on Aging presently. So those are the goals from the past. The next item on the agenda is board member comment. And I'll start with you, Mary. Do you have any comments?
No, but what happened to that pickleball?
pickleball.
Okay, yeah,
Pickleball.
so I'm gonna put that on the agenda for January.
Okay.
Mr. Miller wasn't able to make our other meeting, and it's a little difficult for him to make this time frame, so we'll have to work with him or somebody else from the recreation department to come. Helen?
I just want to thank Mary for joining the board. It's nice to see others who aren't that well known in town to step up to the plate and really help out. And as you can see, she is really learning and
Slowly.
So, but she's a great asset. Many know Mary in Carver. She's been here for several hundred years. I mean, several.
I'm not that old.
But it's nice to have new faces and pleasant faces on the board that can, you know, be nice. So I also wanted to mention, because I felt it important back on October 4th, we had a special meeting because we received an open meeting law complaint. And it's very difficult because we are all volunteers, and when you get several open meeting complaints, it can become quite intimidating. So because of all of the complaints that are coming through the town as a whole by different individuals, we now have to hire our attorney to respond to all of these complaints. So I want to preface it by, we all do our best. There's no ill intent when we have a meeting. We're here to volunteer. Most of us work, some of us don't, but we're still volunteering our time. So I'm speaking for all the boards. I don't think anyone intentionally wants to violate an open meeting law. So on October 4th, we received a complaint from two of our residents, Mary Dormer and Nancy Ryan. And, first of all, we look constructively and say, did we do anything wrong? Because we take that very seriously and appreciate the concerns that these residents are laying out to us. I do want to note, though, again, that it costs the town every time an open meeting law complaint comes through. We received the good news is that we did not violate the open meeting law complaint. So I wanted everyone to know that. So I just wanted to read the results from the Assistant Attorney General in Boston, Carrie Benedin. For the reasons stated above, and this will be attached so anyone in town can read it, we find that the board did not violate the open meeting law. We now consider the complaint addressed by this determination to be resolved. So I just wanted the residents to know, again, we were not found in violation, and I want to thank the residents who brought it because we do want to learn from it. It's just that when you have a complaint after complaint after complaint, I also want the Carver residents to know that this is impacting our budget, and you're probably going to see our attorney budget is going to need to increase next year because we have gotten so many open meeting violations that when I served on the Board of Selectmen, I will tell you that any open meeting violation that we did receive, we were not in violation. So I hope that everybody will come to understand that these board members who are volunteers don't do anything intentionally to violate any of the open meeting laws. So kudos to, I'm glad that that was resolved and now we can move on. And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all of the other holidays that I may not be mentioning. It's a nice time of year to look at what's important in life, and we're all neighbors. So Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that recently it was brought to my attention that the biofuel that they are pushing in out right now is affecting, at least that I know of, I know 10 residents in town that have had their furnaces shut down.
What
And they're
fuel?
all elderly.
What fuel?
Biofuel that they're using with the, I'm not an expert.
No, that's okay, clearly,
It's
but
a
that's
type of
okay.
fuel that they're using, but anyway, my point on all of this is that because of the changes that are taking place with the green fuel that they want us to use, it's affecting our elderly right now. And I know that 10 residents have paid $500 apiece. That's $2,500 that they had set aside for their fuel for the year. Now they don't have that $2,500 for the fuel. So now we have a problem that I know of 10 people. And I have some documents that I forwarded to the Council on Aging today where people can go and look up resources. So I want you to know that I have looked into it. I've sent some documents on to the Council on Aging. And if you have any questions or need any help in the future with this shutdown of your furnace, it literally shuts your furnace right off and you get no working furnace at all. That's number one. The other thing I wanted to let everyone know is that starting in January, March actually, but in January newsletter, you will see some information on a program called Building Better Caregivers. I'm the facilitator of that program, and it's a wonderful program. It will be offered on Wi-Fi and Zoom, but any resident that would like to participate. And if you are a caregiver, we know over the holidays how hard that will be for you. We care about you, and we want you to know that there's resources for you. And at the Carver Council on Aging, Heidi's a really awesome outreach person, and she has a lot of background in locating services for you. So that's all I have to say, but I want to thank the board and thank Mr. Fennessy and everyone that's here today. Hi, Alan.
I have a comment. I know I just came in, but you mentioned biofuel.
You should go up to a mic,
You'd indulge.
Alan.
It's up to you.
What did you say?
I have a comment on the biofuel if you want to give it.
Is it something that is pertaining to,
Yep.
that can be helpful?
Yep.
Please go ahead.
Hey, Ellen.
Hi,
Hi, Mary.
how are you?
So biofuel, Alan Germain, 24 Pine Street. I was in the oil business for 25 years. Biofuel is a corn-based additive that makes up some of the oil base. Problem with biofuel is that it freezes and it gels when it gets cold out. Most of the tanks in the housing complexes are outside. So normally biofuel isn't a problem when the tank's in your basement because the basement's
Right.
65, 70 degrees. When the tank is outside and it's 20 degrees, the fuel will gel, just like it will in a truck. We don't use it in the wintertime. We use a winter blend actually, which is a kerosene blend with the fuel so that we don't have the gelling problem. Fuel will actually crystallize. And the fuel in your oil tank is the same as the fuel in my truck. It's diesel fuel. So if the company that you're buying your fuel from is offering a biofuel, you should request an additive that gets put in the tank. Otherwise, you're going to have exactly what you said. The furnace is shut off because the fuel gels, it will no longer flow. Now you don't have any product going to the burner, so it can't run. Typically, the mobile home type of developments use a very, very, very small nozzle. So it takes nothing to plug them up. One of the biggest service calls we had in the cold weather was in mobile home parks where they had a very small nozzle, and that was 99% of the problem was fuel delivery, whether it was a dirty filter or a dirty pump strainer or a dirty nozzle. But they're so fine, they're so small, it takes nothing to plug them.
Thank you.
So if you're buying oil from whatever company you're buying oil from, you should request that they put an additive in or simply demand you don't get biofuel. It doesn't work in the wintertime.
Thank you very much.
Excellent information.
Thank you.
Stay
So,
warm.
Yeah.
Cold
thank
winter.
you.
Yeah.
So moving along, I just wanted to again say happy holidays to everybody, and the Carver Council on Aging is available Monday through Friday, and you can reach them by phone at 508-866-4698, or just stop in there and say hello, because they would love to see you. Thank you and enjoy the holidays. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.